G'day, this is Simon at South AC Cars and Coffee. I'm with one of my best friends, Pete, who is no stranger to Car of the Week. Well, actually, you are stranger to Car of the Week because you actually won Motorcycle of the Week with your Paul Smart.
Yes, sir.
And I got to say, this is no bias with this. He deserved it with the Paul Smart, and he deserves it with this particular car. While I was away overseas the last couple of weeks, he kept sending photos going, look what I bought, look what I bought. Photographs do not do this thing justice. What is it, mate?
It's an 89 Mustang Saleen.
Yeah, and how many miles are on the clock?
7,600.
Yeah, and there was no Ferris Bueller up on jack stands running it in reverse either. This thing's original, genuine. Check it out. Pete, this Saleen is I mean, it's like a time capsule, and I know when we talk about some of the cars that you've got, you are not biased by make, by year, by anything. You've got a 1965 Pontiac Le Mans, you've got a 930 Porsche, you've got a newer GT3 and GT3 Touring. You've just sold a classic old Dodge as well. No, Plymouth.
Yep.
What, Plymouth, wasn't it?
Plymouth, yep.
Yeah, and you got the Mustang as well, 65 Mustang Fastback, which has got the most killer motor. So you're not biased with anything. And then this thing shows up, and I must admit, I wasn't surprised when you said you bought it, because I know you like all sorts of different cars, but the one thing about you is it's got to have something special for you to buy it, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was it about this car that you went, got to have it?
So I've always loved this era, and back in the day, you know, when I was a kid, this was one of the cars to have, right? And I loved never had a Fox body Mustang, and never had a Saleen, but I love what Saleen did, and I met Steve Saleen a few times at SEMA, and what he did to these cars, just to make them slightly better over, actually substantially better from what they were stock, was, I always liked it. To me, it was kind of like a modern day Carroll Shelby in a way, what he did with the 65 and 66 Mustangs at the beginning.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing with Saleen is, you know, we all know about what Shelby were doing with Mustangs and the Cobras in this sort of era and everything else, but the nice thing about Saleen was that it's a little bit like Callaway was for Corvette. They weren't as common, and yet there were a few little things that really distinguished them from a lot of the other cars that were around at the time, right?
100%, absolutely, yeah.
I mean, there's the graphics straight away, which are kind of cool. I love the wheels. I asked you whether the wheels are original. I mean, they just look so good. But
Yep.
the telltale, the brakes on this thing, like the actual brake calipers look like that. This thing's just rolled off the production line.
Yeah, it's really clean underneath. It had the original tires on it yesterday, but they were dry rotted and cracked. So
Yeah, you don't
replace those.
You don't really want to do that. And then this interior, the thing I love about the interior is that when you look at this thing, this velour, like you said, it looks, I mean, it's not faded, it's not worn. And the mesh in here, which was kind of cool. This thing looks like it's just rolled off the dealership floor.
Yep, I think it's actual mileage, which is kind of amazing. It's a time capsule in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the interior, this thing has to be original mileage. I mean, even the roof. But
Yep.
the thing that blows me away is like somebody, they didn't just not drive very much, they looked after it. It's not, you know, looking
Right.
grubby or anything else like that.
Right.
So the Fox bodies were interesting. They sort of polarized people a little bit, but the thing about them was, even today, this is what people will gravitate to turn a Mustang into a great drag car, because it's so lightweight, right?
Yeah, 100%. It's light. I mean, it's a unibody car. It's not frame on body.
Yep.
So, and all of the Fox cars of this era were like that, right? The Camaros and the Firebirds.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's light. You know, it doesn't have a ton of power, but it's got a little bit of torque. But to today's standard, it's relatively slow, but man, it handles great, and it's got this beautiful exhaust note. It's just really a joy to drive.
I love the rear aero one. I mean, that was massive at the time. I mean, that people weren't, and even down below, what they've done with the thing to distinguish it from a standard Mustang.
They call it the Saleen Big Wing. So what they did is the 5.0 Mustang was a GT.
Yep, exactly.
And what Saleen did is he got started with an LX, which had the same motor and drivetrain, but it didn't have any ground effects packages, so that he could then put his own ground effects package on the LX.
Yeah,
so this is really an LX Mustang.
Yeah, so why buy something if you're going to throw half of it away? And,
Right.
and you know, he was a little bit different to, we were talking about Shelby. Shelby had the relationship with Ford where he could say, build me these Mustangs, but only put this in it because I'm going to take them and do everything else.
Exactly.
Whereas these guys had to actually get a fully finished car.
Yep.
And basically scrap anything they didn't want, or retrim the seats, or all that sort of stuff that happened to it.
And he did a lot of stuff like Shelby. For example, this car had 4 lug wheels. He converted them to 5 lug and put this on the back.
So he did, yeah. Look at that. That's unusual.
So that, and then it actually has a quad rear shock setup. I saw it yesterday. There's a shock that goes longitudinal and the shock that goes up and down. He just did some funky suspension tweaks, and Shelby did that with the drop A arms.
Yeah,
back
right.
in the day. It's just the similarities are really kind of, as I'm learning, are pretty neat.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. The thing I love about it too is today it's increasingly difficult for aftermarket companies to do this sort of stuff because manufacturers lock everything down so tight and make it so that you can't sort of interchange things. But back in this day, this was the thing that made people like Saleen or like Shelby or those sort of people different, is that they actually looked for ways to make the car handle beyond just adding power to them. They wanted them to go around corners, and they wanted them to stop, which was kind of cool.
Yep.
I even love on the Saleen in the door trim over there, which looks super cool.
Yeah.
So many different things. I got to ask, can we have a look under the hood, because I'm sure that's his original.
Absolutely.
What I like about it is you can tell that the car's a number of years old because it's got the normal sort of fading and everything else, which you really want, because otherwise it looks like somebody's gone in there and replaced a lot of stuff.
Right.
This thing is just, I mean, everything about it looks great. I mean, the cover on the top of the distributor, all the plastics and everything, the wiring that's going into the wiper motor and everything. The bottle over here is not yellowed, which they normally do.
Yeah, that's right.
Super cool. I'm guessing it's not the original battery in it though.
No, I think they changed that. But you can see it's got all the vent tags on the fenders.
Yeah, look at that.
Everywhere. I paint metered it, all the paint's original. It's a true time capsule.
Yeah, the light still works underneath the hood, which I mean, that's not something you'd normally expect to work on a car like this. And just, man,
you're right.
It's just all the little details. All the wiring still has its colour in here, and the insulation's not cracked on it. This thing is genuinely 7,000 miles. It's just so cool to see a time capsule like this. Well, mate, as our Car of the Week winner, you get the Meguiar's complete kit, which includes the hot shine foam, the quick interior detailer, perfect clarity glass cleaner, ultimate wash and wax, hybrid ceramic coat detailer, and the microfiber towel. I expect to see you keeping this amazing Saleen in the pristine condition it's in. Congratulations, mate. Great to be able to give this to you.
Well done. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, mate.